Hi there, I'm Suzanne Roth-Paul. I'm a certified primal health coach and I'm the author of the Poisons in Your Pantry ebooks. Now, I'm all about keeping the toxins out and keeping goodness in. I want to see you out of your doctor's office and more in your own kitchens where healthy begins. And so I am going to always be talking about products and foods that are safe to put in and on your bodies. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited to always be doing these product reviews or these testimonials or these interviews here for Lifewave because this product is not only safe, it's harmless, and it's so darn effective. So before I get started, I just want to introduce again who I am and what I'm doing here. I do have a YouTube channel. So if you're watching the recording, you know that. But if you're here for the first time and you don't know me, I am a certified primal health coach and I work with clients that are obviously having a lot of health issues, particularly in their midlife, which is exactly when I started with a lot of mine. And so this product was introduced to me. And what I love so much about it is that these products are safe. And so today we're going to be talking about a product review, very introductory stages of a new water system that our founder David Schmidt is so excited to be to be sharing and to be introducing very soon. We hope it's going to be in July. We don't know exactly when, but it's called the X20 Water Machine. And so I'm going to be talking and touching on the points about this particular product and going into a little bit of the details about how it works and why it's going to be such a special addition to the patches. Now, I was mentioning starting to mention before just now that our signature patch is the X39. So Lifewave is known for its patches. It's a 20 plus year old company. And David Schmidt introduced these patches that are this wearable technology based on photobiomodulation. And I have a patch here to show that we will be talking about them along with the water machine. And the patch looks like this. It's a little disc with an adhesive back. And you put it on different points of the body based on acupuncture points and meridians. And I do have a patch. I do have our signature energy patches. I've got the white patch on my right elbow and I have the tan patch on my left. So a couple of our patches, the energy and the ice wave, come in a two pack so that you can wear them for polarity reasons and put them on different sides of the body. So if you want to know more about the energy patches or any of the patches, my product reviews that I do on my YouTube channel, I've done over 35 videos, so I hope you'll go there and subscribe while you're there and utilize these product reviews for yourself, for your teams, for potential new clients, for new folks that want to learn about the product. And I really appreciate it. We want to play it forward. We want people to know about this amazing technology that is safe and harmless, which is what I'm all about. So today's conversation is for information purposes only. We're going to be sharing about symptom relief, and so we're not here to talk about for prevention of any sort of disease or disorder. And we're just obviously sharing some of the relief that we get from either from the patches and or from this new water system. And we don't want you to not, talk to your doctor about this because they are perfectly safe. But if you are seeing a medical professional, make sure that if you want to try the patches and or eventually the water system, that you know it's safe for you. And David Schmidt, I took a lot of these notes from an interview that he did with a Dr. Karen Kahn, and she's an acupuncturist. And so they were talking about this product and explaining how it works. And so I'm not going to go into the science behind all of this in too much detail because I don't even completely understand it. But I'm going to be touching on it to get you excited about when this product does come out so that you can start talking about it and sharing with your community how powerful this is going to be using with the patches and also using with our new Celergize powders that we're using for nutritional support. And what is actually wonderful about this product is I've gotten to see it. Many people within our teams and within our community of Lifewave company has been using the product, including David. So we're going to talk a little bit about what his experiences have been. It's pretty powerful to know that this product is going to be doing the things that it's going to be doing to not only enhance the patches, but also the nutritional support that we'll be getting with the new supplement line. Now, I did a product review last week on the Celergize powder that's come out. We are going to have a night powder as well, but it's not out yet. So if you want to watch that, please go back and do. So what we're going to be talking about, and we'll start with, is light infused water. And this is what has been a dream of David's for quite a number of years. I know he's been talking about this technology, and we're so excited that we're very near to actually having it available in most of our hands very, very soon. And so his whole point was, how can we use light to heal through this new water technology? So that was his dream. He said, well, I know we use light in so many modalities for healing, even just the sunlight. If you think about going out in the sun, when you're out and warmed by the sun on your skin, it helps activate the hormone vitamin D. We know when we go out into the sunlight, we always feel better when we're in nature. I know when I'm sitting around the computer for hours on end and I need to get out and take a break, the first thing I will do is go sit in the sunlight for a while. So we know the benefit of light and how powerful that can be for healing. So David's water is based, and I'm going to be reading from my notes because I took a lot of notes today. And of course, I cannot memorize all of this. And my guest that was supposed to be on today canceled at the last minute. So I dove deep in a couple of interviews, which I'm going to be sharing with you on the show notes about where these interviews come from. So you can go back and listen to them. So the technology is similar to our patches in terms of how light is helping naturally heal our bodies. And one of the things that David has been working on for the past 20 years is using light energy in our patches. And he thought, well, this would be a really great opportunity to see what I could do with water. So he definitely has, looking at how DNA naturally emits light called photons. And he also talks about that there's 1,000 different types of biochemical reactions in our cells that are affected by light alone. And not only are the patches tapping into this, but he's actually broken the code on figuring out how water can. So David's creative genius, which he is, by the way, and even Dr. Kahn mentioned that David is a doctor. He's got a doctorate, so he could be called Dr. Schmidt, which I thought was interesting as well. He's just such a genius in everything that he's doing. But for years, he's been trying to figure out how to capitalize on this light for getting it into our body in another form. And so he's done it, and that's what this water system is all about. So what we're going to be diving into here is how this water system, when you drink it. Now, I also want to step back for a minute and say this isn't a typical water machine. It's not going to be like one of those water filtration systems that so many people are buying right now. There's the alkalinity machines that are downright harmful. I do know several people who were using them for a number of years and now they're sick. Several people within our Lifewave community has also worked with customers, clients, family that have used the water, alkalinity waters, and they have done more harm than good because our bodies are naturally acidic so that they can break down the foods that we eat. So if you go into our stomach, it's very acidic. And when we have the imbalances that so many people are afraid of, that's usually from diet and toxic burden loads. So you can mitigate a lot of that by just eating well, eating healthy, eating clean, organic, and you can also mitigate that by lifestyle choices. So when we think about water that's full of alkaline adjustments, they're finding out that they're not as safe as possible. So keep that in mind if you are somebody that drinks alkaline water. You want to be careful with that. Do the research. I also wanted to mention, I have a picture I want to show of the machine. I don't want to forget, but let me finish up here for a minute and talk about, I just have a sketch of it. It's like a line drawing. I have seen the machine in person. It's, of course, quite handsome. Everything David designs and does is. But what is interesting is David was very fascinated by the lobster. And those of you who are familiar with David and his conversations, the lobster is one of the few crustaceans that actually doesn't age. As it gets older, it gets bigger and stronger. So he was very fascinated with the lobster and why that was. And supposedly, this is what he's capitalized on in his technology. And it was really funny that when he created this water that obviously was doing what he wanted, he was so excited to tell his executive team that he created lobster water. And everybody looked at him like, are you crazy? You're going to call this lobster water? And they asked if it was too late to change the name, which was really cute. But it was based on the technology behind how lobsters grow and their longevity. And so it's something that you can dive into as he talks deeper about the technology behind this water. He talks about that light frequencies that can really help our bodies heal. And so the energy that controls the biochemistry in our bodies has been technology that has been around for since the 60s. And he mentions doctors like Robert Becker. Healing is voltage, Dr. Bruce Lipton, biology of belief. There's so much information around light energy and the healing effects of that now, it's taken a while that we're seeing it now with infrared light, so many different types of modalities you can get into for naturally healing. But what's going to be great about this is that this is as simple as drinking 1 glass of water a day to get these effects. And David's always been fascinated with anti-aging. This, just put it bluntly, that's what he got into this industry about originally. It wasn't how he started with Lifewave, but he's always been fascinated by the fact that as we age, we break down and we just deteriorate. And he didn't quite understand why that was until we started really looking at cell health. And, our cells are only as healthy as what we give them nutritionally wise. And the mitochondria of our cells is so critical. And so this is where this water system started originally being created by his technology, was looking more closely at, how can we reverse age with the patches, which is how he started, and then what can we do to actually now get in the cell and because it's obviously the patches are not doing anything, they're just reacting on the skin when it warms up, and your body's reflecting off the little crystals inside to go in and do the healing. He's like, well, how can we actually get something into that system of the cell that is more literal, like with water? And so that's where hence the water machine came from. So anyway, I was just going to show how it looked, but basically it is going to be the size of like an oversized printer. And it's not going to be one of those water machines you can, in most kitchens, you can put on the counter because they are pretty big. But I have a pantry, walk-in pantry, that I definitely want it to be in, because you're only going to be needing 1 glass of water a day. And so it isn't something that you're going to be filling up and using throughout the day. So I was hoping I could show you what it looked like, because it's got a filtration system on one side, and then on the where the water is going to be poured into. And then he's got a 2 filtration system on the other side that is, going to be, he calls it 2 stages of filtration, where it's going to be removing out all the toxins and the water, everything. And then it's going to be adding some nitrogen and oxygen inside of it. So those are kind of like the secret techniques that are going to be helping the water do what it does. And it's called, this nitrogen and oxygen is putting them into a novel electromagnetic field, which is when you drink it, that's when it's going to be absorbed into the body and then going to have this magical reaction for our cell health. He says that we're only going to need 1 8-ounce glass of water a day. And it will take some time for the machine to reboot, but I think you can I can't remember, we might, if somebody wants to come on afterwards and talk a little bit about how long it takes and how many glasses you get. I think if you've got a family of 4, you might be able to get 4 glasses I don't remember right offhand, 4 glasses of water for everybody. But again, his recommendation is all you're going to be needing to do is take 1 glass of water. He prefers you doing it on an empty stomach in the morning, and you should be fine for the day. And he also mentions that so far the reaction has been that when people drink the water, especially if they don't do caffeine in the morning, and we don't want to be over abusing caffeine, which many of us do, they're sustaining energy and clarity of mind and a few other things from anywhere from 3 to 5 hours. So that's pretty impressive. And so, that was one of the things he likes to do is before he goes and exercises, he has a glass of the water, normal water. He puts his Celergize powder in first, drinks that, and then he adds a 8-ounce glass of this water to drink independently, and that's where he's getting the benefit of what this water is going to be doing. So he says that the water has obviously the nitrogen and oxygen in it, and the core of the machine, and it has 6 different wavelengths of light. It changes the bond angle so that when the water gets into the system, there's the whole mechanism about the angle of how the water is being perceived. And my understanding is that it can be directed into different parts of the body for conditions. And he talks a lot about, he mentions macular degenerative disorders that eventually he hopes that he can target. I don't think that's it at the moment, but eventually you'll be able to target different areas areas of the body for specific symptom relief. But right now, the water is going through, and it's going, light is so much faster than, does the water go in fast? No, it's the light infusion in the water that causes this to be so quickly reactive and for you to get the results very quickly. It's got, he talks about the alkaline and normal filters are not what this is going to be doing, like I mentioned earlier, and that it actually, when you freeze this water, and I highly recommend we try this when we do get the machine, it freezes into a vortex, which is very, very interesting, like a funnel. We have seen some pictures in the years past that he has shown, and it literally changes the wavelength and the structure of the water, like the macular degenerative disorders or even cirrhosis of the liver. He mentions things like that that could be targeted. And I think that's really exciting because we know that a lot of these imbalances that we're having in our bodies are from diet and toxic burden loads. And so, obviously, by changing your diet and getting the toxins out, this water is going to be even more magnificent. And then using it with the patches is going to be just, catapulting it to another level, which I'll mention here in a sec. When you're drinking the water, he's done some testing on some obviously they've done a lot of science, some research and studies have already been done. He's got quite a few out already, and he's been already sharing about the studies, and we can watch them monthly. I think he's doing 7 months of studies, and he's going to do a month a week, a test, a product review a week on all of the studies that he's done. But he's talking about how when you drink the water, the response is as fast as 90 seconds, which is amazing when you think about how when we drink water, we know that water helps. When you've got fatigue or you've got a headache, you know that if you can drink a couple of glasses of water, and they say wait like half an hour, a lot of times it can help. Many times it doesn't if you've got headaches. But this is as fast as 90 seconds. And he says the first 15 seconds, when they've done some of this testing and they've actually just, looking at the placebo effect and then people not drinking versus drinking with the water, he says that within the first 15 seconds, they'll start to see some of the leveling out of some of the impurities in the body or things that are happening. They have a testing mechanism where they're showing that it levels out and smooths out on the test, and that it's that fast. And that's what's the most incredible about something like this is we're going to get more rapid relief, especially if you're wearing the patches with this. And he definitely says we all want to be wearing the X39 with drinking the water for sure. And then I'll talk about some other effects that can happen with wearing the other patches. So the light travels that fast. The water doesn't, but the light reflecting into the body does. Because we talk about the speed of light, which is quite fascinating, travels at 186,000 miles per second. So that, in and of itself explains why this can get into the body and affect us so much quicker. So it's immediate, it's systemic, it's powerful, and a lot of people have asked, so how long will this last? And he says that what they're finding is it's up to 3 to 5 hours of, as I said, sustainability in the body, that you're still feeling great and this energy clarity, and it affects our metabolism, our physiology, and how infrared light really does help our system to heal. And that's what's so amazing that he's been able to figure this out in this technology, which of course is going to go deeper. We'll do some more product reviews and talk more deeply about this in the months ahead after it's obviously been after it's been released, after we get the system in our hands. Let's see. So what is great about the water that I find the most fascinating, I've talked about this before, how amino acid therapy is so popular right now in supplement form. And David created in our Cellergized powder that we're going to be using in conjunction a lot of amino acid support, because amino acids are the building blocks of our cells. That's where they're the powerhouse and the energy for our cell health. And so he talks about all these different benefits that are going to be in the water, and it's going to increase our amino acid uptake as well. And so some of the things that he mentions are different amino acids. We have glycine, which is in 20 to 30 minutes of absorption, which is so powerful for glutathione and our copper peptide support. And those of you who we do have a glutathione patch, so wearing this is going to be even better. But glutathione is our master antioxidant of our cells. So we're going to be getting an extra bonus of impacting our glutathione support for our cells. And then the copper peptide as well, which is the GHK-Cu copper peptide is what our X39 helps to support and help our stem cells, dormant stem cells become active. That is a big part of this, the amino acid intake in this water. He talks about serine, valine, histidine. There's a whole host of these, but everything from cognition support, which is really incredible. What people are noticing is spatial awareness. When they drink the water, they have more clarity. They feel it's almost like a natural high and very different than caffeine. I mean, I think if you guys have ever done colonics or any sort of colon therapy, which I have, there's like a clearing that is incredible. It's like a feeling I don't think I've ever. It's hard to describe because caffeine gives you a jolt and makes you want to move fast and you just feel like you've got energy. But there's something about, having what he's talking about here is just this clearing out of the junk and the gunk that's in our cells. And your brain just is on fire. Many of us probably have never experienced it. I know I didn't until I was much later in life. So all of these different amino acids are doing everything from helping. Valine is another amino acid that he talks about is a three-branch chain amino acid. Very, very important for muscle support. When it says three-branch, it means it's got three benefits: muscle support, growth hormone support, and even blood sugar regulation. So these things are really amazing for some of the health issues that everybody's having today. Everybody's got, pre-diabetes, blood pressure issues. Now, again, I'm just going to reiterate this. It's food, diet, and its lifestyle choices. But if you're doing the best job that you can, imagine what this is going to do for catapulting your anti-aging, which is what David's all about. And then even if you do have issues, it's going to be helping that. And so that doesn't give you an excuse to still have bad habits, but it's certainly something to look forward to about feeling better. There's other types of amino acids in here that are going to be helping tissue repair, which obviously tissue repair has to do with aging. And what he talks about, what I really enjoyed hearing was, that's also supporting the age reversal. But the big thing that Dr. Khan talked about is as we get older, we lose muscle mass and therefore bone mass. Both of those things go hand in hand, and that's why we become fall risks as we get older because our muscle mass and our bones are more fragile, and it's usually toxic burden loads that have gone in and caused so much trouble. And these amino acids are going to be helping to, pump those up and help a lot of us to age more gracefully and not have to worry about, if you have a tumble or a fall. Now, I do want to mention that many of you who know me, I've talked about my 101-year-old father who just passed away. Well, he has fallen numerous times from 97 into 100. So in that 3-year time frame, he was using the X39, X49 regularly since he was for 5 years now, and using all the other patches as well. And every time he fell, he never broke anything. And that is unbelievable when you stop and think about most people in their 80s are falling and breaking hips. It's one of the number one things that can happen. So I was always so blessed that my father had these patches and he stayed strong. And I know it had to do with these patches of supporting his muscular and particularly the bone health. So yes, we do have fall risk and breakage, and this is going to be really helping the elderly and helping all of us, no matter what your age is. And also another big part of this is exercise and the dramatic anabolic response that we get from just drinking and using this water. And he says that a lot of people, including himself, are noticing great stamina with just drinking the water when he goes and exercises. And he talks about one of the patches that are really important for wearing when you're in fitness is obviously carnosine, and that's helping a lot for the AHKCU copper peptide in our X49 patch. If you don't know about that one, a lot of us wear that in conjunction. But David introduced the X49 during the height of COVID, and it's really good for cardiovascular health. And I have a suspicion that's why he created it and brought it in because there's so many cardiovascular issues, breathing issues, that sort of stuff during COVID. So we've got so many amazing things that these patches are, this water is going to be doing in support of our patches. All right, I'm looking at the time here. We're getting a little late on the time, and I want to wrap this up so that if there are a few questions, I have a minute for them. I do want to mention a couple of the questions that Dr. Khan asked him, and she wanted to know, how does this water help with the patches, or is there certain patches we should wear? And again, I did mention X39. If you're not wearing anything else, or you buy the water system and you don't even know about the patches, you want to be wearing the X39. If nothing else, you want to get that one. And then he also mentions about using the energy patches. And a lot of people love the energy patches. You see, I have them on my elbow because they do more than just help support energy. They are moving stuck energy in the body, acting like needles would be of, an acupuncture situation, but they have so many more benefits. And that, but he is mentioning how carnosine is probably one of the patches you do want to wear, especially if you are an athlete and work out and you exercise a lot, because he's finding the strength is much better using the patches. His energy is much better using the patches when he's drinking this water. And Dr. Khan had mentioned that when she has put energy patches, and this is independent of the water, that she had somebody who was having sluggish and a lot of fatigue. And I suffer from that on occasion, not so much anymore. So I wear the energy patches on different points of my body to make sure I stay energized for even a talk like tonight. That what it does is it helps people, you start moving that stuck energy. It starts getting where your blood flow and circulation is good again, because it's all about circulation and your cells getting the energy and the proteins that they need. That people have come back to her after using the energy patches, and not only has their fatigue lifted, they aren't craving their chocolate anymore, and they have noticed that they're back to walking. So we want to make sure that we understand that what David's had created is a product, both with the patches, the water, and the Celergize new nutritional support, is so that it's also supportive that we can get back to feeling good again. When you feel good, then you make better decisions. When you make better decisions, then you can make better choices for yourself, and we can get off of these, chronic addictions that we have that are so rampant right now with the foods that are addicting, the chemicals, the stuff and the junk that's in everything. I do want to tell one quick story that David talks about, that when he had started using the water, he just introduced it. And of course, he's been using it for a while now himself, had to go through the process of going through approvals and all that's necessary to make sure it says what it says it's going to do. He had an employee that was working on a drone he's got some drones that are doing some amazing things as well. And this gentleman had called and said, I can't do any more work with you because I have severe arthritis in my hands. And he said, I can't even close my hands, much less work. And he said, I'm pretty much disabled right now. And so David's happened to be close to where he lived. And he said, well, why don't you come to my office if you don't mind? This gentleman had no idea about the patches yet. And he said, well, come in. I want to talk to you a little bit about a few things and we'll try things on you. And one of them was obviously putting some patches on, but the other was trying the water. And what he found was so amazing was that within just I think what he did is David had him drink the water. So then it got into the system, one glass, and then he had put some patches on him. And I believe what he put on was he put an X39 on his neck. He put energy patches on his elbow, like I was showing you here on my elbows. And he put Eon on a very popular location on our hand. It's about in this area. Now, the reason why he did that here was because his hands were frozen open. So he wanted to be where the joint pain was for this arthritis. And he said that it took a little bit. They chatted a while, and he said, okay, what is your pain level? Probably within a few minutes. And he said, from a level of 1 to 10, how do you feel? And he said, well, that's brought the pain down. He was quite surprised. He said it brought the pain down to a level 4. And David, both of them were, happy to hear, but kind of shocked. And then he said the more that he talked to him and just went through, I guess he was probably sharing with him how the patches work and different things like that. He said in another 5 minutes or so, it went down to a level 1, that basically his pain was gone. And he was like, well, wait a minute, what's happening? And he could start opening and closing his hand. And he said that it was quite interesting that that he was he'd also been having some fatigue. And he said, well, isn't this interesting that I also feel more clarity? And he noticed his brain was functioning very differently. So I thought that was pretty amazing and an impressive story. And that, that LifeWave in and of itself, with the combination of the two, really isn't, there's no medications, there's no surgery needed. That it's creating such an amazing opportunity for people to get unstuck from some of these conditions all naturally and safely. So I thought that was really an amazing story that David shared. And he felt so great that this guy, he really came in. He said he did, obviously he kept using the product, and he was saying that he avoided the horrible symptoms, which was sadness about how he felt. He had a fair amount of depression. He was despondent. His wife was really worried about him, and he was having to be taken care of by her. And he just didn't think he could work again. And so we're talking about things that are life changing here. That's what I love about LifeWave. It's a life changer product, and it's a lifesaver. And I thought that was really incredible to him, for him to actually see it firsthand with somebody coming in with such challenges. And he says, the clinical studies, that's what I was trying to say earlier, that he's got up to 7 clinical studies, and he certainly is going to be showing, and he's already been sharing now, because some of this information I'm sharing today is a couple of months old, 4 months old or so already, that we can go back and we can read more about the clinical studies, especially if we're life waivers. It's in our back office, and he's going to be doing more product reviews on all of this product as we move forward. He was talking about their measurements and their equipment, which is, obviously telling how this product, how the water machine is working, that they're getting a 273% change in the biological readings. So that's huge. I don't know what that means exactly, but 273% change is pretty impressive. We'll be talking about the data behind that eventually and in more product reviews. But in just 1 to 2 minutes of drinking the water, we know that this can, help relieve energy issues, headaches, fatigue relief, stamina on a bike ride, things like that. And so he's really finding out that this water is a lot more powerful than any of us could have ever imagined, including himself. And that we're so excited that when we get this out and we're able to use it. And I know that I can't wait I got to go find a place in my pantry to put this machine. So that's the product review on the water system. I hope that you learned a lot. I know that in my short time that I studied it this afternoon, that it really amazed and impressed me. If anybody had a question for me, if you wanted to unmute yourself, I think I can let you do that. Or you just want to write in the chat. Um, yeah, I can let you unmute yourself if anybody had a question. I know we've got Irene, we've got, is it Moy? And of course, Nikki. And we have an iPhone user that doesn't have a name. So I don't know if anybody had any questions. Maybe somebody might have a comment. They know. Nikki, one of the things, does somebody have a question?
No, I wanted to say thank you so much, Suzanne, for all that information. I'm
Oh,
excited about getting that water machine. I really am. I'm looking forward to it.
I
But
am too. I am so looking forward to it. Just all the
yes,
research I did. I knew
right.
about it. I knew about it, but I didn't realize the impact it was going to have working with Celergize. And I just ordered the powder, so I can't wait to get started on that. I don't know. Nikki doesn't have any sort of indication as to when the machine will be out. I know we heard July for a while now, but I haven't heard anything new.
But you're very thorough.
Oh, thank you,
Yes,
honey.
you are. You are very thorough with your Zoom meetings. I don't think anybody could have any questions because you cover pretty much everything.
Well, I did
So
leave
that
off
is
a
so
lot,
great.
but thank you, Irene. I really appreciate
No, thank you. I
it. No, you're
appreciate you.
welcome. I'm glad that we're
Yeah.
excited. Don't forget to share this when I get it posted. Yeah.
Um, I could just hardly wait. I want to drink it so bad,
I know.
you
And some
know?
people that are using it are having really great results. And the machine, I saw it at the convention last year, and
Mhm.
it is big, it's handsome. It looks like an oversized printer, and
Okay.
but it's countertop. And
Hmm.
David, the other thing I didn't mention was that he's got it set up so that there's other additional surprises that are going to come down the line that
Oh,
are going to be able to incorporate that are going to be even better for us. But he hasn't been able, he's in creation, David, and he said
Okay.
the machine is set up so that it can just be incorporated. So we don't have to buy a new machine or it doesn't have to be reconfigured. And that to me was exciting. So he's talking about, in terms of remember I said in the earlier stage that in the beginning of the talk, that we can target specific symptoms on the body that
Wonderful.
water will address. Like he said, macular
Wonderful.
degenerative. Yeah. And my father
Mhm.
had macular degenerative disorder. And what that did for his eyes, just with the patches, he never lost his blind eye and he never lost his partially vision eye. He maintained that until the day he died at 101.
My condolences to you.
Thank you, honey. Thank
Yeah,
you. I miss him. I miss him
of
terribly. And
course.
talking about the patches and
Hmm.
his use of them, is a big part of
Yeah, but
it.
he must be proud of you. Definitely.
Dad definitely has his ways of showing up. And yes, the best gift you can give to your family is the gift of good health. And
Right.
it was nice to be able to give that to my dad in the last, the four years of his life. It was
Yeah,
actually,
that's wonderful. That showed a lot of love from you.
thank you, dear. I appreciate
Yeah, yeah.
it. So don't forget to look there. If you just hopped on and you're unfamiliar with my YouTube channel, it's Suzanne Roth-Paul Lifewave. And I have over 35 videos on product reviews, interviews, testimonials, and they're a lot of fun. And I'm also looking for people to interview. So if anybody wants to ever come on with me and share about your testimony, I'm happy to have you. We do love to hear firsthand stories. And obviously, if you know anybody that would be a good fit to interview and talk to, we'd love that has, things to share. All right, everybody, I'll say goodbye. Thank you again for being here.